can only be 5. Theoretically, if you have enough cards in your graveyard, you can win through all of that. Slash, you might just get your storm count up high enough to win in general. It looks
Yeah,
like
big thing to note about Rodrigo as well. Rodrigo has actually had a lot of experience on Tron decks. They've sort of they've had a few really good results in like open tournaments around Europe, playing like Colorless Eldrazi. Maybe he just had a hunch and now knows what he was going to do to this. Um,
Mhm.
Although asking as if he,
I,
he's almost like he's explaining what happens next with that one.
yeah, this is interesting. It looks like we're bringing out some official tokens to help us.
Like
Um,
this. Oh, I like that red token. I like the red mana token. That's
it is nice. So one of the interesting things that we hadn't talked about before is your Kozilek's command can make spawns here, and then you could, in theory, cast another Kozilek's command, but you obviously have diminishing returns, right? Because you have to spend 2 mana up front again. But that would allow you to actually hit more cards in the yard. And I was talking about overpowering, the Past in Flames in the yard. This could be a way to maybe do it if, Rodrigo does stumble a bit on the draw steps here from everything.
sure. So picking away at the graveyard.
Okay, and it looks like we
Rodrigo,
actually went for the draw mode, not the someone put a spawn on the table. They tricked me. They duped me.
we've had a few missteps, Spider-Man missteps, haven't we? Where like they've kind of
Mhm.
gone maybe this, maybe that, and we're still going. I'm still considering we have 1 mana open.
Well, how are we looking at 6 cards? We should only be looking at 5 cards, right? Guess it's a little too late now, as we do record our feature matches.
Yes, we're on a little delay, so with a little misstep there. I hope there is another Kozilek's command there though.
Yeah, that one might be able to be pretty important. I'm really curious about when this was fired off. Did Rodrigo pass the turn, or was this all in response to, like an artist talent trigger that's happening? Because we have no floating red mana, but we have 6 over here with the storm spells, the ritual spells that we see. And we have Past in Flames in the yard. I mean, this game looks to be won for Rodrigo. Like, unless
Yeah,
there's a surgical, which I don't think was in the main deck, nor the side deck.
there's the storm. There's the additional Ral. We're gonna keep on going, keep on ticking. See how many flips we can win or lose, but we've got plenty of so much engine here.
Yeah. And here's Past in Flames being cast from the Glimpse pile, so it's actually a little bit cheaper than flashing it back. And here comes Ral flipped.
Ral is
And
reasonable.
yeah, even if this Ral whiffs on the 8 cards, right? I don't think it matters because all the cards in the graveyard are castable again. Right now, we exiled a lot of them with Kozilek's command, but there are enough rituals and stuff that you can go, wish, ritual, Past in Flames, Grape Shot, you're dead.
We're okay here. Surely we got
Yeah.
two rituals, a Ren's Resolve. Yeah, and
Yep.
then a wishboard as well. So yeah, we're gonna pack it up. We're gonna like Andrea had what was gonna be the thing to stop it. But yeah, Rodrigo fought through it well. I think handy to see like knowledge on the decks, and I think yeah, quite simple to say. There's any adjustments John makes even from this sideboard to sort of like fight through it main,
Mhm.
like Chalice straight in.
Yeah, so we hinted at this at the beginning of the match. This is the deck that probably sideboards the most of these 2 decks this round, so we're going to have a quicker sideboarding section. What you're probably going to see here is we're going to see like Ugin the Spear Dragon that has basically no text, all his stuff that basically has no text. We're going to see those cards probably leave the deck, and then some of our sideboard cards that we have, we're going to bring them in, especially the ones that are maybe a bit more mana intensive that you want to play early. So a good example of this often is maybe Stone Brain. That one you want to kind of play and activate right away. That's a little harder with Karn, where Chalice is another one you mentioned where you want to kind of get it down beforehand. Disruptor Flute is another one that you can sort of see this. My guess is probably Chalice and Flute are going to come in here, and maybe Stone Brain, and then present our core game plan and sort of play from there with some of these wish targets in our sideboard. We can win this game. It is a tough matchup, but you do have a lot of play here. Meanwhile, if we head over to the Storm player side, maybe you want to make some small adjustments, but for the most part, you want to leave your deck kind of the way it is.
Yeah, you pretty much have built this board to just be the win conditions, all the conditions to stop losing. Like, oh, maybe an arms chant. I don't know. I guess
Mhm.
it would feel like the only potential thing to bring in, and but yes, a little bit of a longer setup and a little bit of a consideration for separate angles. Sometimes you just need to bring the Scion and make a big bunch of dragons, and that ends up being the fight that you eventually win into Ugin and his team over the other side. But yeah,
I guess prismatic ending is also something you theoretically want to bring in. Answers flute, answers the excuse me, the Chalice of the Void. You can sort of make your mana cost bigger than that, even if your Sunburst is the same. So a little bit of options, but it really is like maybe one, right? Maybe two. You kind of need to keep your deck very similar from game to game.
yeah, you need to just be able to go off and win. Essentially,
Hmm.
is the aim and the plan of the deck. I know what we'll go into as we go take a look at game two here at the later stages of the tournament. So these are both players are 5-1 here going into round seven. So pivotal games. No pre-game action this time, but the land count is looking like we could have a pretty early Tron. Yeah, there's a Disruptor Flute, though, which is quite correct here to get it out early to slow Ruby Storm down from achieving the speedy wins like it has previously.
Yeah, I'm curious what the name was here. Sometimes you see players use the Pithing Needle part of this to name the backside of Rao. Sometimes you use, the naming there. So it
Mm,
does
yeah,
look like we're naming that. Okay. So interesting spot here to play it out like that. It's not necessarily bad. You're playing around a potential counterspell type of card or something that could silence it. But it doesn't do anything because it doesn't stop the front side of Ral. Now you could name the front side of Ral so that Ral costs 3 more mana, and in the early turns that can be huge. But a lot of times you sort of do this in response to something, or you're naming like Ruby Medallion the front route to make them cost more. So naming the backside here sort of says to me that we're trying to just make sure that we don't get got, and that maybe we're trying to slam a quick cheesy win here.
yeah, exactly, and that's what happens when you need to make the decision, isn't it? You need to make the decision of do I need to not lose before turn, or do I need to stop my opponent winning a certain way? And I think Andrea's back in that they can get onto the board and develop and win as long as we never let the Val get to that spot. And yeah, they got lots of they got lots of tools. I think is that a Trinisphere I see?
It's a
It,
Mind Stone in hand. We have an
nice.
Ugin Labyrinth we're thinking about now. I don't think we have anything to put underneath it, but we do have Expedition Map. A little curious not to play Mind Stone and then play Map, because then on the next turn, right, you can still use those to crack. But I guess maybe the idea here is you're representing a little bit more this way.
Sure, and you got your mana rosters which have basically gone to use them or lose them mode. So you're essentially going to trawl through them here to sort of start scalping the hand in the graveyard a little better. You'd rather have them in the graveyard than completely lost to exile. And what have we drawn? Anything that can start developing the board. I don't actually. Oh, another Manavos. So um, that's some handy fuel for later. As we look to start put ourselves in a position to develop maybe a Ruby Medallion on a this turn. Do you just slam it here and say go? I possibly think so. What are we?
Yeah,
We
it looks like we're
there?
playing maybe a 3 mana card, because you had the mana. I mean, it's possible you want to just have mana up for something. Like if you are going to play a ritual, you would rather fetch, then play medallion, then play ritual, because if you fetch, your opponent can respond if they have a way to answer the medallion. So it looks like that's what was happening here. So nice sequencing here. And it looks like we're pulling out the storm dice.
It's an early call. Cynical? Are they? Is this just a situation where we go and we like
Well, you
get
just want to track this
copies?
even if you whiff, right? Because it just makes your life so much easier than if you don't track this now, you have to go back and do it all over again. So the moment that you get your mana discounter, it's just like, okay, I should just track this because if I get a little lucky, I will win this game. And
Yeah,
we
it's
always say a
it's
little
always the
lucky isn't
thing.
much. Hmm.
It's the thing with the deck, isn't it? You can just win because you could
Yeah.
just generate more and more things. And okay, you don't mind seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, losing all these lands off the top of your deck, it's bad for winning this turn, but it's pretty great for your future draw steps. You don't really want these lands. And it looks like we're just going to cast the Rinse Resolve right away.
Okay, do we want another ruby?
You want real draw steps, and getting these rubies and lands out of the way means that now we're drawing into our past and flames, etc. You don't really need these cards. You might end up playing them, and it's nice to have one extra in case your opponent does interact with the one you have. But for the most part, we were really, I think, hoping on that second to last Rinse Resolve, in order to like hit another ritual or hit a past in flames in addition to that, and just win the game most likely on the spot, as we had a lot of redraws in our yard.
Yeah, I think if you ask any Storm player though, going into turn 4, have I hit my land drops and have I resolved the Ruby Medallion? I don't think they're gonna turn that opportunity down either. And
Mhm.
they're not necessarily saying I need another one or I need more. I think yeah, you're pretty happy there. But yeah, we're cracking into Tron here now, and Andrea is probably starting to think I need to have something proactive, and we do have a Khan. We do have a Khan.
Yeah, and getting the Karn, baseline, we can get a Tormod's Crypt, assuming we left one in our sideboard, which is typically the one you want to leave. It's a 0 mana thing you can do on your Karn in case of, like last turn, if we had a 7 mana card, you could have played that Tormod's Crypt and potentially stopped a kill from happening. So you maybe want to go for a different thing, but it looks like we're not playing the Karn. Fascinating decision. I wonder what card we have that moved the needle.
Could be could be another Cosmic's command again as a decision maker. Although there's plenty of gas to play just on the board to set up for another turn. It could be we could be in for a lot. Oh well, that tells you everything, right? The let me see what you got, because if I see I'm gonna see what you got to potentially be able to snipe some things off. How much do I need to be worried about? And can I can I wait to rip my Cosmic's command to remove some of this stuff? Um,
Huh.
interesting.
Very interesting play here. Normally you would just play your Karn and get your Tormod's Crypt and blow the graveyard up. So I wonder if we sideboard in Tormod's Crypt, because playing Karn, I believe our opponent was tapped out, and then
It was.
grab Crypt would be like the exact same thing as this, except Karn would be in play, and so then on the next turn you can wish for Chalice for X's too easily, or Liquid Metal Coating is like another option, or a big Walking Ballista and just put your opponent on the back foot, or do the play we're doing now, but you have a Karn in play. And yeah, there are multiple Karns in hand, so I have to think that you know things went a little sideways potentially.
Yeah, like it was just free to do Khan and Crypt,
Yeah.
and didn't really change anything. Um, but now he's having a decision over these piles.
Oh, okay. And we're not making mana. I thought we would want to make mana to double up, maybe, and that's why we didn't do the Karn. But we found Trinisphere. That one's really good. But yeah, normally in this sort of spot, I mean, when you have gas in hand, you kind of want to use, just in general with any deck, not even just Tron, right? If you have gas, your cantrips become not, I would not want to say worse. That's like a poor word to say there. But it's sort of like, oh, okay, I have things to do. I should wait to cast those unless I'm getting some sort of benefit, right? Like Corey Steelcutter or Prowess triggers, or, I need to find an answer immediately. And so the fact that we sort of did this here makes me think that maybe this was something that we really, really valued, and that's getting this Trinisphere down. And then, yeah,
Yeah,
we're just passing the turn again.
it was yeah, I'm gonna just set the Trinisphere up, or at least try to.